Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here. Yes, I do realize I'm wearing my shirt backwards. That's because this is my work shirt and I don't want to get sued. Welcome to another Ketchup review. This is the video that I do where I see a bunch of movies that I really want to talk about but don't have the time or the energy to dedicate a whole individual video to each one, so I talk about them all in one video and then give them all a rating at the very end. I brought back this series last month and you guys really seem to like it, so I'm going to try to do this as a monthly thing, like at the end of every month. Today I have 5 movies I'm going to talk about in the order that I saw them, and then at the very end I'm going to rank them from worst to best. So anyway, let's get into this. First off, let's just get this out of the way. Madea Family Funeral. The first Madea movie that I've ever seen, and easy contender for worst movie of 2019. Now, I had never seen any of the other Madea movies up until this point, and I was going to avoid this one because it just looked like something that would cause me to commit self-harm. But then I figured, well, if I don't see it out of my own will, then I'm just going to get a bunch of people hounding me on Instagram. Go see Madea, go see Madea. So, plus, I got $5 off because of my Fandango VIP rewards thing, so, you know, it was kind of a okay deal. I'd also planned on just seeing this by myself, but Abby, or the Abbe Place, who's been on the show a couple of times, decided to go with me, which was nice of her. I really appreciate that. Be sure to check out her channel in the link below. Yeah, after seeing this movie, now I understand why I've never seen any of the Madea movies before, because Jesus Christ, this movie. This was everything that I expected it to be, only multiplied by 1,000. It was loud, it was obnoxious, it was kind of offensive, it was annoying, it was long. So freaking long. The weird thing is, it wasn't even that long of a movie. It was only like an hour and 50 minutes or something like that. But there's so much just like unnecessary just schlock that's just interwoven into the movie. Like just rambly like dialogue and like just scenes that just never end, and you can tell that the actors are just ad-libbing and they're not doing a really good job because it just feels like it goes on for fucking ever. But yeah, basically the plot is there's this couple and the dad is caught cheating on someone, like a dominatrix or whatever, and during one of their like whatever sexcapades or whatever, he has a heart attack and dies, excuse me. And then Madea has to plan the funeral, and then the rest of the movie is just the funeral and the interactions that come from that. And you think, well, that doesn't really sound like a lot. Like, when you say it's long, what do you mean? I mean, it feels like it goes on forever. There are so many scenes that just drag on and on and on with, like, it doesn't even feel like there was a script. It was literally just feels like these actors were just having somewhat of a normal conversation and just literally obviously ad-libbing and stuff like that. And it wasn't good, it wasn't funny, it was really annoying, it was trying my patience. Another thing that really bugged me about this movie was, you know, the tonal issues, because, like, you know, the movie markets itself as just a straight-up comedy, but for some reason it also feels the need to throw in this, like, soap opera drama with this affair plot line or whatever, and you'll have like scenes of the crippled guy, the grandpa or whatever, talking about like, oh yeah, I used to pull mad hose and I love smoking weed, and then cut to shots of, you know, the brothers crying about, you know, their girlfriends or wives or whatever cheating on them, and like people getting upset about the funeral, and the mom like holding back tears and stuff like that. Like, pick a tone and go with it. Like, I'm pretty sure Tyler Perry has done like strictly serious stuff before. So, like, if you want to make a serious movie, make a serious movie. If you want to make a comedy, make a comedy. But regardless, neither one works because the soap opera drama just seemed forced and the jokes were not funny, which was made even worse by the howling audience that I saw it with. But yeah, bottom line, don't go see this movie. I'm pretty sure it's out of theaters by now already, but yeah, this was a rough sit. Honestly, this was a rough sit. Next up is 5 Feet Apart. This is the movie, I believe it's a live-action adaptation of a book, I think. And it's basically another one of those movies that takes terminal illness and makes it look so romantic. I didn't watch Fault in Our Stars because it didn't look that interesting to me, and I felt like if I tried to watch it, I would form some sort of cancer. And I wasn't too interested in watching this movie either. It just really didn't look like my thing. It looked too cheesy and, you know, melodramatic for my taste. And to be honest, this really isn't my kind of movie. I really was not into it. But, I mean, it wasn't the train wreck that I was expecting it to be. Now, don't get me wrong, it has plenty of problems. One huge one, which I'll talk about in a minute, but, like, for the most part, it's, for the first 2 acts of the movie, it's just fine. Like, it's not, like, super offensive, you know, I was following it okay. It seemed to, you know, have a clear point of where the story was going. The actors were pretty alright. There were a few moments where they, like, had, like, kind of an off delivery or just, like, sort of robotic, particularly, Zach or Cody, I don't remember which one. There were some moments that did genuinely get a chuckle out of me, particularly from the gay best friend. He added a nice, you know, like, charming element to it, which I really appreciated. Aside from that, it's mostly just safe and predictable, and like I said before, cringy and melodramatic. There's a lot of, like, really, you know, kind of forced stuff in here that's, like I said, it's mostly just cringy, but I mean, it's nothing that will, like, really, like, piss you off. But then when we get to the third act of this thing, which I'm not going to spoil in case you haven't seen it, but it just throws, you know, it spends a good majority of the movie, you know, trying to educate, you know, basically what CF is and the restrictions of CF. And then it completely ignores all of that because the main character wants to, you know, be an idiot. And I mean, you could argue, okay, well, you know, she's blinded by love and everything. She's, you know, gonna act rationally. And yeah, I understand that. But, like, when it's those types of lethal situations, you wouldn't be that careless. Like, I don't care how much you love the person. You would prioritize your own safety and their safety over, you know, whatever else, whatever, like, connection you have. Honestly, it's movies like this that kind of make me wonder how, you know, the outside group that's being represented feels about it. It's like whenever I see videos on YouTube that's like people in the LGBT community reviewing movies like Love, Simon, or people in the BDSM community reviewing 50 Shades of Grey. It's like, how is this group of people being represented, and how do they feel about it, and are they represented, how are they being represented correctly? Because, like, I don't know anything about cystic fibrosis. I don't have it. I don't know anyone that has it. Like, I didn't know much about it going into it, so I was curious, you know, like, to see if there was anything on YouTube, like, of CF patients talking about the movie and, like, what they got right, what they got wrong, how they were represented, how they felt about the movie, and the reactions seemed to be split, which is honestly kind of fascinating. I feel like this is definitely going to be a crowd-pleasing movie. Like, a lot of people are going to overlook the, like, typical Hollywood cliches and, like, you know, inaccuracies and stuff like that because it's so, you know, like, emotionally manipulating and stuff like that. But it's just the different points of view that really fascinates me. But yeah, like, you know, if you are, I mean, I don't know how many, you know, CF patients I have in my audience, but, you know, if you are one of those people and, you know, you had a strong connection to this movie and, you know, you're able to look past all the, like, different, like, Hollywood, you know, cliches and stuff like that, then good on you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But as for me, you know, I will say I definitely feel like I learned a lot about CF from this movie, and I can definitely feel, you know, like the struggles of people that are, you know, going through it. But I mean, if you set up you know, if you want to represent it correctly, I feel like you shouldn't, you know, go back on all of the things that you were educating about in the last third just because of, you know, the main character being love-struck and stuff like that. And maybe that's just me being a cynical asshole, but yeah, anyway, long story short, movie was eh. Don't think I'd watch it again. Probably not gonna make it on the worst list. I don't know, we'll see how other movies this year turn out. Next up is Wonder Park, the new animated movie by Nickelodeon that really should have been direct-to-TV or direct-to-DVD, but for some reason is getting thrown in theaters. I wasn't all that interested in seeing this movie, but I figured, you know, I didn't see too many animated films last year, and I wanted to correct that, especially the like more smaller ones and stuff. So I'd figured, you know, maybe I'd give it a try. I mean, the premise looks cute and stuff like that, so we'll see how it goes. And it was serviceable. I mean, not something that I'm ever gonna watch again, but not really anything all that special. I mean, it's not like I was expecting Pixar quality or anything like that, but I was expecting something, at the very least, something that we didn't literally just see in the Lego Movie a couple of months ago. Like, this plot and the Lego Movie 2 are very similar. You know, they both, without giving too much away, they both deal with kind of like the death of imagination and, you know, like feeling the need to grow up and, you know, mature and losing sort of, you know, like the fun side and stuff like that. And they also both hammer their messages on the head really, really freaking hard to where there's almost no subtlety. The characters are all kind of just boring, traditional mock-ups of the regular, like, kids movie, animated film character tropes or whatever. Nothing really that interesting, but the voice actors did a pretty good job. The animation, given that it was probably a very low budget, was also pretty impressive. It was really colorful and bright and stuff like that. And it was at the very least visually interesting. There are some like twists and turns that I would have liked to have been done differently, and maybe that's because, you know, these things have been done so much better by other studios like Pixar and studios like DreamWorks that like to subvert cliches and stuff like that, or put different spins on them. But this one just kind of played it safe. Not necessarily a bad thing, but not necessarily anything special or memorable. If you have little kids and they want to see this movie, I would say watch it. You're not gonna, you know, regret buying a ticket. You're not gonna be pulling your hair out waiting for it to end. You might be a little bit bored, but that's probably the worst of it. Next up is Shazam, the new DCU movie starring Zachary Levi. I'm gonna try to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible because I actually got to see it as part of a Fandango early access screening, so I got to see it like 2 or 3 weeks earlier. It officially comes out April 5th, and who knows, I might do another spoiler review on it once it officially comes out. But spoiler-free, I really enjoyed this movie. It's officially knocked out Aquaman as my second favorite DC movie. It's bright, it's colorful, it's funny, it's the most entertained I've ever been in a DC movie. It's got a nice sense of humor. It doesn't really try to take itself too seriously, but it also has a lot of heart to it, and it's really, you know, emotional. It's got really great, charming main characters. The actors all do a great job. They're all having so much fun. The villain is a really good villain. There are a lot of nice jabs at the superhero genre. I believe there was a reviewer who said that this movie was like a cross between Tom Hanks's Big and Deadpool, and that's honestly the perfect comparison. The amount of self-awareness that the movie has is honestly just so great. Obviously, I've got my issues with the movie. It's not perfect by any means, but to go into that would require spoiling the movie, and I want to wait for everyone to see it before I talk about spoilery stuff. But yeah, in short, the movie was really good. I'd definitely recommend seeing it when it officially releases. But yeah, really fun time, and I hope that DC stays on this track record. And finally, Us, the new Jordan Peele horror suspense thriller following the success of Get Out. Honestly, I might have to do another review of this movie a little later because I'm still trying to figure out whether or not this movie was good or bad. Like, I think I enjoyed it, but I also acknowledge that there are a lot of problems with it. But I mean, like, it was just so, like, this is the most confused I've ever been coming out of a movie. I was really curious about this movie. From the trailers, it looked really interesting, and for the first, like, couple of acts, it is really interesting. You know, it does a nice job of building tension. It's also really funny, like there are a lot of, you know, comedic moments, and especially moments that aren't supposed to be comedic but just come across that way because of, you know, the over-the-topness of the second family. But the actors all do a really good job, and in particular Lupita Nyong'o, she does a really good job, especially playing both herself and the evil version of herself. And the first 2 acts, I was really into this movie, but then towards the end, when it does the whole twist, not only does it go into full-on like exposition mode, like, oh, this is what happened and this is why I did it and blah 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 blah, but it's like, it's also really confusing, and there are a lot of elements about it that just seem kind of forced. And I know that there's, you know, like, it's meant to have like a lot of like obvious symbolism and stuff like that, and social satire and stuff, but I feel like it could have been, you know, explained better, and there are things about it that just seem, you know, tacked on and forced. So I don't really know what to feel about this movie. It's not bad, it's not good, but it does kind of make me want to see it again, just to, you know, collect my thoughts and get like a clear answer of whether or not this movie is good or bad. I know that the reviews have been really split so far, so I'm interested to see how that turns out and how the box office of it does. But yeah, Us, it's interesting. I'll give it that. It was interesting. I was never bored. I was, you know, curious where it was gonna go. But yeah, I don't know. And that's it for another Ketchup review. Going to my ranking from worst to best. Worst would be Madea with a 0.5 out of 5. Next up is 5 Feet Apart with a 2.5 or possibly a 3 if I'm being nice out of 5. Next up is Wonder Park with a 3 out of 5. Next up is Us with a 3.5 out of 5, but this is likely to change after subsequent viewing. And then finally Shazam with a 4.5 out of 5. Thank you guys so much for watching another Ketchup review. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen any of these movies, what your thoughts on them are. And be sure to stay tuned for next month, because starting April 1st, I've got a really cool series that I'm really excited about, and I've been working really hard on, so I'm really excited for you guys to see it. But anyway, apart from that, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on what I'm posting. Follow me on all my social media, subscribe to my main channel, everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.